In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, players are often pitted against challenges that they only have some small chance of succeeding in. To simulate this, we roll dice. A normal skill check is made by rolling a d20, taking the resulting roll and applying any bonus a character may have. This is then compared to the DC. If the rolled result is equal to or greater than the check, it is passed. Hooray! If the result is lower, you failed. You and your group of nerds fall into a pit, and it's full of dynamite, and you blow up. The end. If we are interested in the odds of succeeding an ability check, we can take the DC minus the character's modifiers to determine the minimum roll needed and calculate the odds from there. In this way, we can see that the character with no modifiers doing an easy challenge has the same odds of a character with a +5 doing a moderate challenge. In either case, the odds are 55%. A DM may award advantage to players if they've done something to help them achieve their goal. For example, an arcane trickster may cast True Strike to give themselves advantage on their next roll, or perhaps they have a friend who helps them on their action, giving them advantage. In past editions, characters with advantage gained a flat +2 to their roll. To apply advantage in 5th edition, we roll 2 d20s and use the higher of the two results. Similarly to advantage, disadvantage is giving out to a player who has hindered themselves from completing their task. With the disadvantage, a character rolls 2 d20s and then takes the lower of the two rolls. What are the implications of rolling more dice? Let's do the math. To see the difference, let's first investigate the averages. The average roll of a d20 is taken by adding all the possible scores and then dividing by the possible amount of scores. The result is a 10.5. To model this with advantage, we'll need to find all the possible outcomes when rolling with advantage. Let's conceptualize. If we roll a 1 on our first dice, we will be essentially guaranteeing that we will be using the second roll, because it can only be greater than or equal to our first. This gives us an array equivalent to a rolling without advantage. If we instead roll a 2 on our first roll, we would be using any number from our second roll, unless we roll a 1, in which case we'll be counting it as a 2. This pattern continues on for 3, 4, 5, etc. Taking the average of this big old block of numbers, we get 13.825. Essentially, a +4 bonus in place of previous edition's +2. So is it that simple? No. I wouldn't be making this video unless the math was a little bit more fun. Clever viewers will have noticed that our array contains more possibilities of rolling a 20 than any other number. This skews the results. Rolling 1 d20, we are as likely to roll a 20 as we are a 1. When you roll with advantage, you actually have a 9.75% chance to roll a 20 and a 0.25% chance to roll a 1. Here's the odds for every number. Because our skill checks can be passed with a roll equal to or greater than the DC, we can take the odds of rolling a number and add all the odds of rolling every number greater than it to get the odds of us passing our check. Obviously, if you could pass a check by rolling a 1, you have a 100% chance of doing so. If you need a 2, you would have a 95% chance. If you need a 3, you have a 90% chance, and so on. For comparison, here are the odds of us succeeding with advantage. We can take the difference of these two numbers to determine the bonus that is applied for every possible needed roll. If my character is rolling, doing a very hard skill check, and I have a +7, advantage makes me 12.75% more likely to succeed. My character is instead doing a moderate skill check with a +4 bonus. Advantage gives me 25% more of a chance to succeed. Graphing these results, we can see that advantage gives us the biggest improvement when rolling for a check that our character would have about 50% chance of completing normally. Advantage gives us diminishing returns the further away from this post we move. It only gives a 4.75% bonus if we needed a 20 or a 2 to pass the roll. I like this system more than flat bonuses because I believe it comes closer to simulating reality than a static +2 bonus. Advantage gives characters with shaky chances of succeeding better odds, while only mildly changing characters who are already very likely to succeed or very likely to fail. It also doesn't let them do anything they couldn't already do, where a bonus to a roll increases the odds of success by raising the possible outcomes. Advantage provides a better chance of obtaining the best possible thing their character can do. Oh, and all this data applies the same for disadvantage, but reverse. So it really hurts characters in the middle of our graph, and it doesn't change much for characters at either end again. Hey, thanks for watching this video all the way through. There are definitely other places online that you can find this kind of information, but it's definitely not in the actual player's handbook, and I haven't found any resources that weren't kind of just giant walls of text with one or two little tables spread in. So I'm hoping that this video um, makes it easier to digest to the general populace. If you like this video, or if you thought this video might be a little bit above your pay grade, I partially made this as a supplement because I was inspired by Matt Colville's video, Dice Math. He's a great creator for New Dungeon Masters, and I also stole footage from Z Bashu and his videos on True Strike and the Help Action, which are a pretty bad way to get advantage and a decent way to use your familiars if you're interested. Comment down below if you have any other weird dice math that you want me to investigate, or any other unanswered questions or things you don't understand about the game. I guess subscribe?